Okay, good.
Okay.
Good evening, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. I am talking to you from the Far East and or from the Near East rather, not from the Far East. And they say wise men always come from the East, right? So I'm here to have this conversation with you tonight. And thank you, Ronke, for the beautiful introduction. I'm happy to be here with the folks from New Brunswick. And yes, it's my pleasure to share some thoughts with you about AI. And yes, like Ronke has said, she has found a new friend, and that new friend is AI because he helps her, saves her life, and makes things easy for her. And if I may ask, apart from Ronke, do we have anyone in the room who has had some good experience or relationship with AI? If you are, I'd like to quickly hear your perspective, what you use AI for, how AI helps you, or how AI has impacted you. I mean, just in 30 seconds, I'll be glad to hear your own part of the story. So, do we have anyone in the room who uses or has used AI? I see some good friends here, so please spare them the torture of me calling them or picking on them by answering quickly. Anyone who
Yeah,
has
you can
used
actually go
AI?
ahead and unmute yourself and speak. Yeah, go ahead, unmute yourself and speak. I see some people
Hi,
raising their hand.
good evening. Um, so my experience with using AI, so I use Microsoft's Copilot a lot. As business analysts, we have to do a lot of documentation and trying to get in touch with meetings. So I tend to use Copilot within Teams. It helps me to summarize key actions from a meeting. The recap feature is amazing. And I also use it within Outlook to summarize emails just to be able to know what the action points are or to get the gist of information that is being shared within the email thread. Those are like two key scenarios that I find very helpful for my job. Thank you.
Beautiful. I think there's a second dame raising her hand.
Yes, hello everyone. So I use AI a lot. I started with um ChatGPT, but then I got introduced to Gemini AI, which I found more friendly and more human. I use that a lot for communications, for refining my emails, communicating with different stakeholders across the organization. What excites me most about AI was a recent discovery where I actually use it because on the side I do videos, I create videos, and I started to use AI to create my videos. That's kind of like been a huge relief. Like hours of sitting down and editing videos have been taken off me right now using AI, and that's been pretty exciting for me.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mrs. Dami. Nice to see you again after almost a century. And also, Mr. Coyote, I've not seen you in a while. Nice to see you. Seems like everybody is in New Brunswick, so I think I need to move to New Brunswick. Okay, thanks for the responses, beautiful people. So I'm going to take you on a quick lap. I'm going to balance it. So I would like to tell you that ChatGPT is not AI, or AI is not ChatGPT, whichever way you want to put it. Even though you've all used ChatGPT, that's what, when they say AI, everybody thinks of ChatGPT, but AI is bigger and much larger than ChatGPT. So yeah, if you've started using ChatGPT and you're confident and comfortable about it, congratulations. You're amongst the very few elite people in the world today doing great stuff. Keep it up. And yes, if you have not jumped into AI, well, you see some reasons tonight why you should be jumping into AI if you have not taken the plunge yet. And yes, so let's get started. So this presentation is just going to talk about AI generally, some subfields of AI, and of course, it's going to see how we apply it. Also going to talk about how AI affects the world of work today. We are at the crux of a very, very, recently we've talked about COVID, we've had cloud, we've had mobile, a lot of things have happened. Now, AI is something critical that is about to change the way we see things and do things. In fact, it's one of the articles I'm writing, which I should publish in a few days' time. So thanks for the opportunity, Mr. President, my good old friend, and then thanks, Ronke, for consurging me onto this session. And I hope we have a wonderful time. I wouldn't be looking at the chat windows because my screens are both taken. So if there's any question, someone should be kind enough to please alert me. And how many minutes do I have, please? 10, 20, 30?
Well, I
Okay.
think you can go ahead and we'll monitor the chat room for sure. And if we can do this in 35 to 40 minutes, that should be perfect.
Yeah, I'll try to finish in 25. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so today we'll talk about what AI looks like, what the history is about, and then we'll talk about a couple of other things. So, like Ronke has well introduced me, I'm Tosin. I've done tech for about 19 years now. Today I run my own business at Apricot, where I help people with transformation, data analytics. I spent some time at Microsoft, and in Africa, I run a small social enterprise company called Analytics Africa. Yes, I'm active. Not as active as Dami O. Dami is my leader, but yes, I try. I do at least 10, 20 kilometers every week. And yes, I do a lot of bodyweight exercises. And okay, so let's go. So what is artificial intelligence? It is that field of technology where we are trying to make machines think and learn like human beings. And there are a lot of things that AI involves today. We have the machine learning, which is more or less statistics in the computer. So if you've done statistics before, all those classification, all those things that you did in maths and statistics, those are the things that artificial intelligence uses extensively. So anything that cannot be computed, anything that cannot be calculated, artificial intelligence cannot really handle it. So like Dami A said, she uses AI to create videos. It would be nice to know what tool you use. She uses AI to create videos. I promise you, those video creation activities, when you break them down, they're actually mathematical processes that the computer is able to generate and use to build whatever it is doing. So even though it ends up as video frames or whatever it is, if it is not computable, then computers and AI cannot exist. So we have things like computer vision, we have natural language processing, which is what we have as ChatGPT today. And then we have robotics, which we have in the factories, whereby instead of human beings doing assemblies, we have robotic arms and we have a lot of machinery doing a lot of beautiful stuff for us today. Robotics is also what we have, a mesh of robotics and computer vision in what we have in self-driving cars, driverless cars, and all this stuff. In the early years of AI, we had this chronology where we started talking about this AI in the 1950s. And then we moved down to 2016, where we started seeing more things about AI. So we have a very beautiful timeline here where we started in 1950. AI started between 1966 and 1997. Not so much happened. But by 1997, then we had a reawakening. And then up till 2017, 2023, where we now started having what we call the general pre-trained languages, which is what we call GPT. I promise you very, very soon, even though we call it ChatGPT, in very few years, it's going to get a new name. And it's still ChatGPT because that is the function or that's the model that it's built on. But at some point, it's going to have a new name, and all those names are going to go, and it's going to become a part of our lives. So we started that journey in 1950, and then in 2022, it exploded to become what we all know today. So, but before 2022, when I used to work at Microsoft, since 2017, 2018, while Microsoft was already investing in ChatGPT, in OpenAI, they had started pushing us as engineers, those of us that were data engineers, to start learning data science. So 2017, 2018, there was a lot of push towards data science. And today, even the database engineers in Microsoft really don't exist as much, as most of them have been converted into data scientists and data engineers and AI engineers. My colleague Dami would be able to bear testimony. And what is this market opportunity that we have for AI here? Today, ChatGPT, when it was launched, within 5 days had 1 million users. If you are a social media person, just imagine you launching your Instagram channel and having 1 million followers in 5 days. That is the scale at which ChatGPT got up. So we had 1 million people registered, and it keeps growing. The average span for getting 1 million users used to be something between 3 to 5 months, but we got it in 5 days. So that's really crazy, and it's exciting. And today, as at 2021, the global market value was $327 billion. Today, we are expecting that it's going to hit about $1.2 trillion in 2030. But I think by today, 2024, we've already exceeded this market. And I'm going to say why. Because today, one of the biggest providers of AI chips, which is NVIDIA, is already a $1 trillion company. And the two other biggest companies in the world, Microsoft and Amazon, are $3 trillion companies already. And Microsoft especially is riding a huge wave of AI because their share price has just gone astronomical. A lot of beautiful things are happening, and we're going to see a lot of year-on-year growth. So even though we have this projection here, I promise you, if we have not hit a $1.2 trillion market in the next 1 year, we're going to exceed it by far. So that is the opportunity that we're talking about here. And what does AI do for us? It does 3 major things. It brings challenges, but it enables and it brings opportunities. So the next companies that are going to exist, 10 years ago, there was nothing like OpenAI, but OpenAI is now rubbing shoulders. I think as at 2 days ago, OpenAI's latest valuation is about $80 billion. They just closed another seed of funding, which is making them $80 billion. We never heard of a company like Perplexity. We never heard of a company like, Claude, and all those other companies that exist. A few years ago, it was mobile and metaverse and what's this Bitcoin technology? I can't remember, NFTs and blockchain. But all that is more silent now. What we are focused on now is AI. So a lot of companies are going to die, and a lot of companies are going to be born. So if you are, and as a career person, this is an opportunity for you to become born again. So because AI is not going to take anybody's job, but people using AI are going to take your jobs. So we're going to explore this and see how in the next few years. So how does AI enable? It automates repetitive tasks. Like Dami said, her video production has been eased up. She can do a lot of things faster. Now, when you are able to have efficiency and you begin to get insights, before being a data engineer, you had to load your data, you had to do a lot of dicing and slicing. Now you can just write 2 sentences and it will do your data analysis for you. And what does that allow you to start having? You start having innovation. So enablement happens, and you're able to do things you could never do before. I don't have to do Photoshop anymore. I don't have to spend time in Canva. I just write a sentence and I have an image. I tweak it there, and I just do a drag and drop, and I have 5 images in 10 minutes. That was not possible before. So I can do so many things. Opportunities, that means I can now get personalization. For those of you who are very much in touch with Africa, look at what experience you used to have on DSTV. When you put off your DSTV and you put it on, you have to look for the channel. DSTV doesn't remember what channel you watched yesterday. Doesn't know what your favorite channel is, but Netflix knows what your favorite channel is. Amazon Prime knows what your favorite channel is, personalization. Amazon knows what you bought last. Today is Prime Day. Amazon knows what you bought last and whether it is available or not, personalization. Scalability, large scale things, competitive advantage because of innovation. So a lot of opportunities. And it also brings problems because there's the data privacy, there's the ethical challenge, there's complexity and all sorts of stuff. So it's a good thing, and it also has its challenges. So now, like I mentioned earlier on, AI fundamentally sits on mathematics, and that mathematics that it sits upon is what we know as data. For those of us who are computer scientists, for us, unstructured points of facts are what we call data. Information is when you have analyzed it. Raw facts are what we call data. In the journalism world, there's that conflict of, no, that's not what it is. But for those of us who are statisticians and computer scientists, raw facts on process is what we call data. And then when you have processed it, when you have analyzed it, when it now makes sense. So what is it now? Tosin is a boy. Tosin is wearing a shirt. And so as a man or as a boy, what can Tosin do? Because Tosin is a man, tomorrow or in future, he can be a father. That is information. But Tosin is a boy. Tosin lives in the Middle East, or Tosin is dark, or Tosin is Nigerian. Those are all points of data. But by the time you now aggregate those data points to make some cohesive information that you can use to make decisions, that is what we begin to refer to as information. And in data analysis, it's the same thing. Oh, I spent $50 yesterday, or I spent $100 yesterday. What is the implication of you spending $50 yesterday? It might mean that your income is expiring or finishing, or your money is finishing. Oh, you went to Walmart and you bought $100,000 worth of good. Okay, that's good. But when you correlate it to your bank account, so if you had $101,000 in your bank account and you spent $100,000, now correlating your expense to your account balance gives us that this guy is on the way to being broke. So data is raw facts, but information is aggregated data that has been correlated and now gives us strategic insights. And that is exactly how we do it for AI. There's no AI without data. So any AI that you are using, any AI that you are doing, it has to sit on some sort of data. So in an organization, when I do have an IP that I call AI readiness, which I'll show you at the end of the day, AI readiness, one of the things that we analyze for organizations is to say, if you don't have any data, then we cannot even have an AI conversation in your company, because your readiness for AI is highly dependent on the quality of the data that you have. Okay, moving very fast because we have a very long way to go. What types of data do we have? Just give me 1 minute, please. So what types of data do we have? We have structured data, we have unstructured data, and we have semi-structured data. So your data in your Excel sheet, rows and columns and everything are what you have as structured. It makes sense. So when you see data in rows and columns, it already makes sense. But imagine you have video. How do you want to know how many times did they say yes in a video, which is video frames? Or in a musical clip, how many no's? Or if it's a Brooklyn or New York, the Bronx kind of rap music, how many times did they say I'm gonna wanna? Or how many times did he say my life is at risk, or whatever he says in the rap? You cannot know because it's unstructured. Or in a novel, how many times in a novel or in Harvard Business Review did they tell you data is the new oil? You cannot know unless you have to do some kind of search. So it's more complex to analyze. And then in between that, we have semi-structured data, which is XML, JSON, and all those kind of stuff. Now, what does data help you to do? Like I mentioned, it allows us to make informed decisions. So if Tosin is a boy, and Tosin is Nigerian by nationality, and he lives in New Brunswick, what does that tell you? Or if Tosin is a boy, he's British, but he has an African name, and he lives in Toronto, what does that tell you? And he's a tech person. When you aggregate that information, what insights do you get from that? Or Microsoft stock was $250 yesterday, but because they invested in OpenAI, it has suddenly jumped to $350 overnight. What does that tell you? Yeah, 250, okay, $100 gain. And so therefore, but maybe Segun owns 1,000 units of Microsoft stock. What does that mean? So 100 times 1,000, Segun just became $100,000 richer. That's information. And then when we begin to see things that happen, so for example, rule of thumb, if I go by the I-56 highway and at 7 a.m., if I go through the I-56 highway, there's always traffic. I tried it yesterday, I tried it last week, I tried it yet last month. Tomorrow, am I going to try it again at 7:56? No, probably I'm going to pass the M45 because that has less traffic. It's an older road and people don't pass. So, or I greeted him, typical African culture. I said hello to him yesterday. He didn't answer. I smiled at him 2 weeks ago. He did not respond. I tried to hug him 2 weeks ago. He ignored me. So I'm going to walk past him next week when I see him. Patterns, trends. And even though these are just simple rules of thumb that we use to decide what we do every day, that is exactly how data works. That is exactly how trends work. So for example, everybody's talking about winter. Segun said that he doesn't have to mow his lawn when it's winter. Everybody says, oh, I love the turkey at Thanksgiving. All those things. So everybody knows that when there's Thanksgiving, there is a turkey. And when there's a turkey, there has to be gravy. When there's gravy, there has to be wine. And when there's turkey and gravy and wine, there has to be a family gathering. It's simple, stupid, but it happens every year. So I'm not going to put a business meeting on the Thursday. Okay, Thanksgiving typically is on Thursday. I'm not going to put a critical business decision meeting on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Simple, stupid, common sense. But again, now translate that into elections happening in November in the United States. Translate that into the war going on everywhere, whereby people are complaining about all sorts of issues and everything. And then depending on who is in government in the United States, what's the implication on war? And depending on who is in government in the UK, what's the implication? And all those little tiny things that we know and take note of. Now imagine how that is going to impact the stock market. Imagine how that is going to impact economic projections for the next 20, 30 years. Imagine how that impacts the decisions between whether it is Canada that is the greatest wheat exporter or whether it is Ukraine that is the greatest wheat exporter. So regardless of all the happenings in Ukraine, there's a special concession for wheat exports, because if we don't export wheat from Ukraine, there's going to be a major imbalance. But it's a good thing for Canada because since there's a problem in Ukraine, Canada is now the greatest wheat exporter. So income increases, forex increases. Canada is going to see how much they can do to boost output. But now we see that Canada might not be able to move that because to have your next harvest is going to take another 6 months. So there has to be ceasefire agreement for what? For wheat in Ukraine, because the world cannot survive without wheat. In quotes, trends, patterns. Now, is BlackRock going to invest in Morgan Stanley? Or is Morgan Stanley going to invest in OpenAI? Or Kmart is dying. Are we going to invest in Kmart so that it does not die? Or we let it die a natural death and we focus more on Amazon, who has more websites and everything? What is the trend? What is the investment? What is the opportunity returns? All those guys sitting in Wall Street with 20 screens in their front and wearing all sorts of weird jackets, all they do, smoke, eat, drink, and live for is data. The hedge funds guys, the BlackRock guys, the Morgan Stanley guys, the Fidelity guys, all they live for is data. Am I boring? If I'm boring, please write boring. If you're excited, write excited. If you love this, clap for me. Send me some love. Can I see you? Now, this data also now allows us to predict. Like I said, if I go via the I-54 and there's traffic every day, for those of you who lived in Lagos for the past 15, 20 years, we know what happens on that popular long road that takes us from Obalende to Oworonshoki at 4 p.m. You don't go there between 4 and 6 p.m. and you don't go there between 6 and 8 a.m. It's always going to be a long traffic. So you avoid Third Mainland Bridge for those of us who are still very much in touch with what happens in Lagos. So even though it is not economy breaking technically, but you know that, okay, if I leave work at this time, or if I leave my house at this time, this is going to happen. You are also doing your own little AI. You're also doing your own forecasting. You're also doing your own predictions. When the sky is black, what happens? Umbrellas come out. And when the sun is bright, but in the UK, if the sun is bright now, don't trust it. Hold your umbrella, because from time we've seen that you can be as unpredictable as the British weather. You know what I'm talking about. Now, what are some of the things that we do to handle data to be ready for AI? We collect data, we clean data to remove inconsistencies, and then we process it to be ready for whatever analysis we want to do. So if I want to do analysis for loans, if I want to do analysis for investment, if I want to do analysis for just farming, the structure might be different, but sometimes I have to clean data. Why? I get my data. Somebody says I live in NB. Somebody says I live in New Brunswick. Somebody says I live in New B. Somebody says I live in N Brunswick. How do we align all that data? Or somebody say I live in Lax. Somebody says I live in LA. Somebody says I live in Los A. Somebody says I live in El Angeles. How do I analyze that data to be structured so that it can be well organized? That's just it at the basic level, but I can take that on and on. Now, one of the critical components of AI, I have cut this short. I could have gone deeper into what AI is, but I've just cut it short. One of the critical areas of AI is machine learning. It focuses on the use of data and algorithms to enable AI systems so that people can consistently increase so that the system rather, not people, can increase the accuracy over time. And machine learning understands patterns. The same way you know which road not to pass when it's dark or which road not to pass when it's 7 a.m. because of the rush hour traffic, computers also learn. But unfortunately, as opposed to humans, where humans can infer, computers cannot really infer. So anything magic or AI that computers are doing, it has to make logical sense, like 1 + 1 = 2, or 1 × 1, or 1 divided by 1. If it cannot make mathematical sense, AI cannot do it. But of course, the line between intuition and logic is getting blurred every day. Recently, ChatGPT has a new version that allows it to show its thought pattern. Its thought pattern. So even though it is still zeros and ones, it still does a lot of analysis. A computer cannot love. A computer cannot say, I like him tall, dark, and handsome. A computer cannot say, I like them slim and with a round face, or I like them dark. No, it doesn't have emotions. So because you cannot calculate love, a computer cannot love. A computer cannot learn to love because it's not numbers, it's not metric, it's purely emotional. Am I making sense? But again, it can learn anything that involves numbers, sequences, reoccurrences. And then when it's able to analyze and learn, it can begin to create models. It can begin to identify. It can begin to see the difference between a dog and a cat. I promise you, 2017, 2018, the celebration we had in the data world was that computers were able to identify between a dog and a cat. We couldn't do give me an image of a cat sitting on a highway driving a Ferrari. We couldn't do that 5 years ago. We were celebrating, if Dami remembers, we were celebrating that, The computer vision can now identify between a dog and a cat. But now we have now fed our engines, which we call large language models. We have fed them with 1,000 and 1,billion images of cats and dogs. So even though they both have fur, they both have pointed ears, they both have whiskers, there are still some features that differ between them. And then we know we have bigger cats like the what? Like the lions, like the cheetahs, like the leopards, and we have bigger dogs like the hyenas, like the bears, like all those things. Now, because we have fed them with thousands of images, it has learned, and now we can identify to say, this is a dog, this is a cat. Now you can say, design a cat, a mystical dog. It will not give you a mystical cat because it has learned and learned and learned over time. Just like you too, you went to school, you learned ABC, and now you can read, you can rap, you can form, you can write stories. The same way the system has learned. It's only just that it has more things to use in learning, and we feed it with a lot of electricity and a lot of processing power, and of course, a lot of carbon footprint. So it kind of seems to learn faster. Now, we also have types of machine learning, which I won't bore you with. But we have the supervised one, we have the unsupervised one, and then we have reinforcement, which allows it to do the same thing again and again and again. And then what are the applications of this kind of learning that it does? We have image classification, which I just spoke about. We have language processing, which is can I speak English? Can I write? Can you brainstorm? Like Deronke said, can you brainstorm for me? Can you give me an idea? Okay, recommendation systems. You used to watch action movies. So it's not going to give me Baby Shark when I launch my YouTube. It's not going to give me Baby Shark. It's not going to give me Mr. Beast because I don't watch Mr. Beast. The same way YouTube also works. I won't see Mr. Beast because I don't watch Mr. Beast, and all those kind of things. And then, of course, for those in the Wall Street, the banks, the Morgan Stanleys, the TD banks, it helps you to start predicting because it will say, all things being equal at this time of the year with all these factors happening, AI allows me to now predict what the stock price is going to be. If there's an election, there was an election in 2016, there was an election in 2020, plus an epidemic. Now that's a different scenario. What happened in an election plus a pandemic? What happened in an election plus a war? What happened in an election plus a pandemic plus a war? Now the system is able to think and give you projections. So if we have an election in November, what is going to happen to the stock market? You've forgotten. Sharp people will remember, but AI, because it has learned, machine learning will remind you and give you a prediction. Sell all your stock or hold your stock. For example, we saw Bitcoin crash and then it's skyrocketed again to a new high. Now we have learning patterns for blockchain. We have learning patterns for cryptocurrency. So in the future, nobody was sure. Everybody said, oh, the end has come for crypto. Oh, the end has come. But again, it has bounced back. Now we have reference points for crypto. Am I making sense? If I'm boring, let me see your hand, please. But if you love it, just send me hugs. Has everybody left the room? Thank you.
We're here.
It's
We're
amazing.
waiting for you
It's
to
amazing.
chat.
Thank you. Okay, good. So how does AI support business analysis? So you know better than me what business analysis is. So I'm not going to teach you, but I'm just going to do the definition for doing sake. It is the practice of enabling change in an enterprise, and it allows you to articulate your changes and the rationale for change. And of course, business analysis has started evolving greatly also. A few years ago, business analysis was about getting the software requirements. But now it's moving more towards enterprise transformation, digital transformation, and a lot of beautiful stuff. Impressive. So how can AI help? Now, according to Babok, we have some knowledge areas, which are about 6 or 7, which a typical business analyst will use. So I won't bore you with them. You can see them, you know them. There's no point in boring you so that I don't try to teach you what you already are experts at. So what are some of the ways in which AI helps? Now, in project scoping, remember we spoke about things like, can you tell me, for example, what are some of the things I said AI or machine learning allows you to be able to do? Can anyone tell me? Just name one or type one. What are some of those things AI allows you to do? Anyone?
Yeah.
Enablement?
Prediction.
Prediction?
Yeah.
Informed decision.
Informed decisions? Yes. What is the core food, raw material for AI?
Data.
Data. Beautiful. Good. Thank you. Lovely people. Smart class. Now, based on the ability to predict, based on the ability to leverage data, now we bring all those skills. You know, I love a lot of cross application. I love people who don't look at things at face value. I love people who look skin deep and use the sixth and seventh sense. Now, that's what we're going to apply here. What are the typical things you do as a business analyst when you're planning and monitoring? You do scope definition, you do stakeholder identification, and you do progress monitoring. Yes or no? Am I telling lies?
Yes, you're right.
Thank you. Now, that is why Ronke can go to ChatGPT and say, I have a banking transformation project. Would you be kind to tell me who my stakeholders are? Because I have only done stuff in customer care. And whatever LLM you are using, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, would go pull it out for you. Why? Because someone somewhere has done stakeholder analysis for banking. I promise you, and I bet you, go ask it for stakeholders in, what can we say? Maybe space. In space travel, it may struggle. I wouldn't say it will, it may struggle. Or look for something extremely, really rare, or in strategic warfare with drones. It may struggle because we probably don't have case studies like that existing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, it is able to give you your stakeholders in banking because somebody has done it before. Now, let's say, for example, we are a company, we don't want our data in general public, we don't want it on the internet. So we have our data in company, in the house. If you have fed it with data of previous projects, if you have fed it with outcomes of previous activities, it is able to pick that data. For example, I always use this kind of thing. We want to give loans. In Africa, typically what they say is the government doesn't owe. So if you're a civil servant, you're almost always eligible to get loans. Yes or no? Right. Now, but since COVID, and in some West African countries that we won't mention their names, government has started owing people salaries. Yes or no? So which means if I give a government employee a loan based on new info, a government employee will default on his loan. Isn't it? Now, I can no longer use rule of thumb to predict. So if I'm doing a loan application for low-income earners or for whatever strategy loan, whatever I'm doing in the bank, historical data will now tell me that between 2019 and 2023-24, government employees have not been receiving salaries. So you need to do a double click or a double check on any government employee that is going to collect a loan. Historical data, model prediction. The same thing when I'm identifying CRM upgrades from on-premise to the cloud. If this was 2016 or 2015, where Salesforce was never existing, Microsoft Dynamics 365 was not existing, it would have been a problem because nobody has really done it before. Your Gemini, your ChatGPT will give you scanty information. But because they've done it again and again and again, many people have moved to Salesforce, many people have moved from Dynamics on-prem to Dynamics in the cloud. I can easily get my stakeholders' values. And I can even give you project timelines estimated because I've seen a lot of data from people who have done that before. That's one of the benefits you get using AI for your analysis, planning, and monitoring. What are some of the tools we can use? We have our Power BI, we have our RapidMiner. This is not exhaustive, but it just gives you an idea of some of those things that we can do. Time is short. Elicitation. Have you ever seen contact customer care and then instead of say customer care is online and then they say, what is your name? You put your name, Tosin. What do you want? Pick up out of the 5 options from what you want. Support, complaint, request, balance check. Then you press the one that you want. Then it gives you another set of questions. Then you press the one that you want. And then it's only when you cannot get a response, then it connects you to an agent. Similar to your IVR on the phone, but we are beginning to see those kind of things on WhatsApp. We are beginning to see it on the web browser. That's a simple chatbot. Now imagine that you want to collect information from people. You want to elucidate, you want to do stakeholder interviews. Instead of sending them one 400-page Google form, you can easily use a chatbot to do the interview process for them. Or instead of gathering everybody, come from all the 4 corners of Canada into the head office at Toronto or in Calgary, and then we start doing interview for you one by one. Can you please answer this thing via a WhatsApp chatbot or a custom chatbot? You get data, and then you lead them onto the kind of questions you want to answer. Also, we also have stakeholder communication to assess sentiments, to see how people have responded in the past, to see the kind of information that they've done. So we have a lot of bot creation platforms. We have Microsoft Bot Framework, we have Google Dialogflow, we have TextBlob, we have WhatsApp bots that we use to collect all this information. So that is how AI can do it. Standard old practice, Google Form, questionnaire, all those ancient stuff. No, step up. Let's look at how we can use make.com. On Instagram, they will say, send love so that I can give you the chatbot, the data sheet or the stuff that allows you to make money while in love. Or I make money through digital products. Send me digital and I'll send you 45 digital products that can make you money. You see that every day. And then ManyChat is going to respond. ManyChat is an AI-driven tool. And I can go on and on. Those are the things that you begin to see. So you begin to see how you can use it for AI, for your and elicitation, as a BA. The same thing applies when we are doing life cycle management. Today we have our Jira, we have our Monday, we have our ClickUp that suddenly seems that is intelligent. In this kind of areas, sometimes we need to differentiate between what is hardcore programming and what is artificial intelligence. Programming has always made computers smart from day one. Programming has always, that is why your email is smart. That's why your mobile phone is smart. But everybody now wants to sound funky and every automation thing is AI. No, there are things that we see as AI and there are things that are just hardcore programming. 1 + 1 is 2. Programs have always done that since before I was born. Well, we now have AI. For example, I ask somebody to create a schedule for me. That is not programming. I tell it I have 15 tasks to do. Create a schedule for me. That is not programming. It prioritizes for me. I'm designing a business case or I'm a marketing strategy and I tell it digital marketing strategy and I tell it to design a funnel for me and give me pricing. And then it designs my funnel, gives me my upsell, gives me my downsell, gives me my order bump, and tells me an estimated price at which I'm going to sell that. That is not programming. That is AI. It has learned from other marketing strategies and funnels that it has seen and is now recommending for me. Am I making sense, people? in a situation where it is now prioritizing features, these are the things that we see. So, like I said earlier on, a lot of people are saying today that, oh, AI is going to go bust. We are going to see it's going to die. It's not it. Let me say it's the African way. It ain't gonna die. It ain't gonna die. No. What we are going to see is that we are going to see a lot of injection of AI into the everyday tools that we use. So it is not a high wave that we are riding now that is going to die. No, what we are going to see, it is going to integrate directly into the things that we do. And there's going to be more automation, more interaction, more intuition in the tools that we use. So again, AI is not going to take your job, but somebody using AI is going to take your job. Right. So financial trend analysis and support is what we're going to use. Like if you do business analysis of what happened in the past or market trends, competitor insights, you get your data, you want to analyze it, you can push it into a data lake, and inside the data lake, you can now begin to have predictions, time series, all these tools. R and Python suddenly sprung up. They are classic statistics tools. But remember, I told you, AI, machine learning is math and stats. I went to university and I studied computer science, but I didn't study computer science in a computer science department. I studied computer science in a math department, and it was torture. It was pain because me, I don't like statistics. Statistics is not logical. It has they tell lies in statistics and chemistry. Physics is logical, maths is logical, programming is logical. So I had issues. But guess what? AI, ML is all math and stats programmed. What are the biggest programming languages for math and stats? It is R and Python. Make sense? So that's where we begin to get our time series. If you did statistics, you have your time series formula, how you generate your time series. If you remember your ANOVA and all those amazing boring stuff that you do. For some people, it's exciting. For me, it's not. Now, what are some of these other things? So we spoke about requirement analysis, where you're able to generate your visual models, look at your mind maps and all those things that you can do. The same way you can use AI to generate videos, it's also the same way you can use AI to now generate your model for your user stories. Just imagine as we have it in your draw.io, your userstory.com, your requirements hub, and all those sexy tools that you use to do a lot of stuff. So I'm not going to bore you with all these things that you know. I'm probably going to share the slides. I want to move on to some really critical things that I want you to think about because my time is really fast spent. I told you earlier on that AI gives us opportunities so that it will not be as if I'm running away. We have stuff for solution evaluation. We have stuff for risk management and decision support, which are your 6 pillars in your BABOK, which you all know very well, better than I do. Now, how does AI and robotics affect the things that we do? It allows us to have automation. Remember we talked about innovation, opportunities, and challenges. Now, when we bring AI into the workplace, it gives us 3 major things: automation, innovation, and augmentation. What is automation? Automation means that the tasks that I do every day, I can get something because it has learned how to do them. It can do them smarter and faster. And when I have all my routine tasks taken off me, what does it allow me to do? It allows me to think of new ways to do things. And of course, in some cases, it augments. So if I'm a writer, instead of me spending days to write an article, AI can generate an outline for me. I can now use my brain to write whatever I want to write. That's augmentation. Augmentation is AI cannot do everything for me, and I cannot do everything, so we work together. That's augmentation. Innovation means because it has made my life easier, my brain wattage is focused on newer things. I can see clearly now, the storm is over, and I can do newer things. Now, I'm moving to some critical things that some people are not aware of. All this AI, big data, and everything that we are seeing is going to cause a lot of problems that started causing all over the world today. As you can see, we are having a lot of roles. Now, if you've not paid attention to everything I've said earlier on, I need you to start paying attention now. We're having a lot of roles that are going to be challenged. some roles like general and accounting, factory, data entry, administrative work. In your offices today, how many secretaries do you have? For those of you who were lucky that have a little bit of a copper or silver spoon, your dads or your moms had secretaries in their offices, they had typists, they had personal assistants. But in the office today, how many secretaries or typists or personal assistants do we have? You must be earning 7 figures to have that kind of person working for you today, or you must be a big man in government for you to have that. Why? That rule, or how many people are still using shorthand to write short notes because they are taking meeting minutes? For those who did business studies back in Africa, where is that shorthand course? What's the relevance of that shorthand course you did years ago? Dead. Factory workers have been replaced. Look at what is happening in Michigan, Ford. Robotics has taken over all that. Now, because of all this data, automation, and everything we have, roles are dying. QuickBooks has taken over. So you don't even need anybody to come and tell you how your accounts are. You have tools, QuickBooks, Mint, whatever, to do your accounting for you. Who is entering data? Can you scan it and do some OCR and it will generate that data for you, and then you upload it with bulk upload in Excel? Done. Nobody's typing 400 pages anymore. So if you are still in that area and you think you have a job, my dear brother, my dear sister, you are at risk. And these are the kind of roles that we are seeing. We are seeing that big data is having an impact on jobs, artificial intelligence at the bottom here, cloud computing, e-commerce. We can see the havoc Amazon has done. BA roles are not at risk per se, because you still need a lot of human reasoning to do stuff with BA. So I would not say you're at risk, but a BA that is using AI will dump a non-AI using BA in the dust. And you can see that IIBA has quickly moved from software development based perspectives into transformation. For those of you who have spent enough time in business analysis, you see now that business analysis has now moved into transformation rather than software requirements gathering and everything, which it was a few years ago. Am I mistaken? If we have a tenured BA in the room, can you confirm what I'm saying?
Absolutely, you nailed it.
So
You're right.
those guys have seen the trend. We don't have people writing too much code anymore. We have no code, we have low code, we have DevOps. When I was working before, I used to sleep overnight in the office to do upgrades. Now, DevOps has come over. There's no more ITIL. Developer is separate from tester. Tester is separate from deploy. All that thing is fused together. Developer tests, developer codes, developer deploys. All is automated testing, all joined together. Now, all those things are gone. Exactly. So you are going to have these challenges. Amazon has killed a lot of people. It's a good thing. Now, I remember visiting Seattle and somebody says, because of Amazon in this town, they are killing small businesses. It's a bad thing. I just said in my mind, oh, guy, you better wake up and go online. Right. So those are the kind of challenges that we're going to have when we do AI. Now, what kind of skills does the 21st century worker need to have? Your cognitive skills. Does BA require you to think? Does it require you to engage? Does it require you to manage? Anything that requires you to be cutting down something, physical skills. Unless even in the army, warfare, we can see the kind of wars that are going on today. Some people are sitting in their country and they are blasting a place via somebody's phone. That means it's not no more, as there are some people are sending in 1993 during the Gulf War, we started hearing about Scud missiles. They'll sit down in a base and send a missile from their base to another country in another continent. Now, in 2024, we had of Pearl Harbor, bomber planes and everybody. Nobody is sending bomber planes again. You send the drone and the drone will go. If you kill the drone, congratulations. If the drone comes back, congratulations. The drone will do the work. And you sit down and be controlling the drone from your sitting room. So no more physical skills. Technology skills are good, but your engagement skills I'm sitting somewhere in the Far East. I'm 8 hours ahead of you. You are all 7 hours behind. We are all over the place, but we are all together in one room. Everybody has light. Everybody's eyes are bright and shiny. We don't know who is not asleep. We are all working together. This could as well have been a strategy session that we are doing for the global business analysis community, where we are designing the future of the business, whatever. Engagement skills, cognitive skills. I cannot see you. I am not with you. I don't know whether you frowned and smiled, but I can judge by the tone of your voice. I can judge by your hesitation. I can judge by the tone of the mail you sent. Interactivity skills. Now, these are the kind of skills that you need to have in the next 5 years. Analytics thinking, leadership, resilience, design and user experience, and all those kind of stuff. So if you are not thinking like this, yes, coding is good. Yes, AI skills are good. But of course, an AI engineer who does not even have business sense is going to lose his job very soon. So we need to know as BAs that, again, it's not that the Antichrist is coming and it's the end of the world. It depends on where you want to be when the world ends. But right now that the world has not ended, you have to wake up and smell the coffee and decide whether you want to drink coffee or you want to drink water. Am I boring or should I stop?
Fire on.
Okay, great. So I'm not going to spend too much time here. We've begun to see the AI impact. Jobs are going to go by 2030. A lot of NHS now has NHS digital. Instead of just NHS focused on doctors, they have a bigger concern that is focused on engineers and digital. Retail jobs are being lost. We can see what is happening all over the world today, so I don't need to bore you. We are having robots, we're having drones, we're having a whole lot of stuff. So what are some predictions that are going to happen? Domain expertise is going to become a critical skill set. Today, when I finished secondary school, I went to learn computer appreciation. My kids are already knowing how to use computers before finishing primary school. The same way, writing a prompt is going to become second nature in the future. Human-made creative work is going to become a luxury. So I wrote a novel. Look at Harry Potter. I can easily write my own version of Harry Potter with ChatGPT very, very quickly. I will even reference Harry Potter, put the PDF of Harry Potter, and write my own story. Now, nobody's going to really care. But guess what? Just like the same way you have a custom-made jewel gold bracelet or a custom-made blue, silver, velvet blazer that was not mass-produced on a desk in China or in Vietnam. That is how some creative work are going to become very soon. Now, for me, I'm semi-introverted. I can shine now because I can use AI to write articles. So I can produce 50 articles per month. And people will be like, Tosin is so smart and intelligent. And nobody needs to know where I am. Am I in New Brunswick? Am I in Canada? Am I in the UK? Am I in Texas? Am I in the Middle East? Am I in Lagos? I will just be churning out articles every day, supported by AI. Nobody needs to know. But even if I'm using AI to write those articles, smart people will detect whether I know what I'm talking about or I'm just doing copy and paste, domain expertise. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and a lot of new jobs are going to be created. People need to be born again in their occupations. And workflows are going to change. Today in Canada, you get your residency card shipped to you. You get your passport shipped to you. In some countries down south towards the east of Canada, you have to go and use your hand to collect it. You have to go and use your hand to take picture. But with AI and everything and automation and workflow, that process is going to change. And then people who are not skilled, who typically use the old method, will have to change and learn. And of course, like I said, cognitive skills are going to arise. So as you can see, physical skills are dying, and they are dying in their large numbers. And you can see that it's going negative, and the cognitive, intelligence, and tech skills are beginning to grow. This is a prediction from Europe, from the WEF document from McKinsey. and then it's going to continue to increase. So, can you get lost and thrown under the bus if you are not a techie? No. There are a lot of roles that you can do, which I'm not going to bore you with, but you can read them, take a picture, and they have opportunities in AI. So don't run away from AI. Anywhere they are singing the song of AI or the national anthem of AI, please stand up and stand at attention and embrace it. You don't have to be a technical person. You are smart, you are intelligent, you can read, you can learn, you can upgrade, and there's a whole lot that you can learn. Number 3, number 4, number 5 is critical because a lot of issues are going to be happening. Change management and adoption, extremely important because people are going to have to learn new ways of doing things. And of course, if you want to be technical, yes, the world is your oyster. You can get a job at Netflix paying you about $900,000 because of that skill, and a lot of good things are happening. And of course, there are still some less technical roles, but the roles are bound. Okay. Any questions before I go into some other things that I want to talk about? I hope
So
my
for
time
change
management has
management,
been great enough.
for change management, can we actually say AI can train people, or they will still need specialists in training to complement the AI and train people?
Training is just one component of AI. Sorry. Training is just one component of change management.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
how do
focusing
you
on the
even
training
know?
part.
How do you even, AI cannot train.
Yeah.
Who is going to build the training slides?
Okay.
Who is going to do the recording of the training? Who is going to design the curriculum?
Mm-hmm.
AI will not do that, will it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you cannot leave that to AI. Do we know whether the team is 25 to 35-year-olds or is
Mm-hmm.
40 to 55-year-olds? If you are designing a training for 40 to 55-year-olds, it's different from when you're designing for 20 to 35.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even if you feed it in a prompt, how smart is that prompt going to get to design the structure for you?
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't know that kind of telephone that they turn around or they tap.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me? But some people still prefer to read it in hard copy.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are not comfortable reading on a tablet or iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably want to read it on a PC. So
Okay.
who knows that?
Mm-hmm.
Change expert. AI is not going to take that job per se. But the
Excellent.
change expert using AI is going to dust the guy who is not using AI.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Makes
sir.
sense.
Next question, please.
Hi, Tosim. Thank you for the presentation. My question is, we have heard all the good things AI can do for us as business analysts, and I'm sure that there will be potential negative impact on business analysis. Have you experienced any? And if not, are there any that you can suggest to us so that we can
negative
look out for?
impacts. If you are using AI to do all your work and you are not thinking, AI platforms have been known to hallucinate. And what is hallucination? See what you are not seeing. So it's just like a little child can, sometimes some children say some things that are not true. Not because they are lying. You've all experienced it before. You said something that was not true, but probably because you were confused or you were overwhelmed. Has it happened to you before? Or you were under pressure? But you
True.
really were not lying.
Yeah.
So AI can recommend stakeholders that don't exist for you. You can put proprietary data inside ChatGPT. You work at TD Bank. And then suddenly TD Bank's secret data or loan investment strategy is suddenly available to the whole world. You can have a data breach. Your privacy can be affected because somebody was trying to do stuff. So it can go on and on and on and on, which is why we always say there is need for understanding how these things work and then applying it best. So some people will even, like the typical way, block the URL.
Yeah.
But I can take pictures. I can use my phone. Why shouldn't, but smart organizations like Deloitte, like EY, like Accenture are investing in proprietary LLMs. When I say LLMs, LLM is the technical word for Gemini, ChatGPT, whereby they are loading all their case notes internally. So instead of you searching SharePoint, what Microsoft is doing today is that instead of you searching SharePoint, when you ask Copilot a question, Microsoft has a background engine that goes to SharePoint for you and bring the data.
Yeah.
That's what we call Copilot.
Okay.
So Deloitte, EY, all those consulting companies are investing big time in doing those kind of stuff so that my consultants, and in Nigeria, for example, we have a major problem. We have partners. Those ones are not going anywhere because they are rich. We have entry level that just graduated from university. All the middle managers have gotten jobs in EY London, PwC Canada. And so we have a very minimal middle cadre in Nigeria today. But with AI, a smart senior or a smart consultant can easily get up to speed when he's using EY ChatGPT.EY, whatever they call it, or smartanalyst.EY. A lawyer that just has 3 years experience can do research if his law chamber is intelligent enough to put an LLM with all the case notes there for them. He can do enough research to be able to get out what Gani Fawehinmi did, even though he was not born when Gani Fawehinmi won the case against Babangida.
Yeah.
But again, we have to be careful. We've seen Samsung engineers putting Samsung proprietary data on ChatGPT and it's exposed to the whole world, which means Huawei, Apple can get Samsung data.
I see. So what I hear is when there are challenges, there are also solutions. So one of the solutions for security, for breach of security, is having a personalized one to the organization.
Organizations should do that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then secondly, that to avoid being the AI hallucination, we need to have an understanding so that when we are chatting with the AI tool, we know it's just a conversation starter. We know what we are looking for is just for it to guide us, right?
Absolutely. That's what we call domain expertise.
Okay. All right.
That's what we call domain expertise. I can't find it here, but that's what we call domain expertise. So I won't suddenly become a lawyer because I have ChatGPT and now start saying this is how the court case should go.
Okay.
Whereas I am not aware of one constitution that I should have learned since my 2nd year in university. One constitution clause.
Yeah.
So I'll not just do ChatGPT research and wear a wig and a cloak and go to court. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Mary Gloria.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for your time. I wanted to ask, talking about using it for our work, if, for example, maybe a company's information or it's actually entered in maybe ChatGPT or any LLM, is it possible for the company to know who exactly did that? Can they find out? Can they?
So we have police officers here. I doubt it.
And then I've noticed too that a lot of companies don't, encourage use of ChatGPT, in their company or on their official laptops and all that. So
exactly what I'm saying. So the knee-jerk reaction. Let me look for trouble. When you were growing up as girls, your parents would typically tell you, don't talk to boys, isn't it?
Sure.
If they touch you, you're pregnant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that behavior, did it help many girls from doing what their parents did not want them to do?
No.
Did it help? Yes, or did it not? Did it did it stop anything really?
No.
It did not. But
Yeah,
what would a
not in
white
all
parent have
cases.
done? Sorry?
Yeah.
I said not in all cases.
Not in all cases, yes.
Yeah.
But a smart parent will have taken a smarter approach, right? Which we'll not go
Yes.
into details.
Sure.
We know what a smart parent would have done, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the same thing, companies should not, because even companies don't understand it,
Yeah.
and it's not priority for them. So many of them feel, oh, we'll deal with it in 2027. No, you cannot deal with it in 2027. The world is not waiting for you. So what they just do is block it. Security by obscurity. But guess what? I'm going to go home. I can find a way to send that document to my Gmail or send it to my somewhere, and then pull it. There are ways around. I can even take a picture, and my phone is intelligent enough to do OCR, and I can copy the text and still put it on ChatGPT. Yes or no?
Sure.
So what companies should do should be a deliberate approach to enlightenment, a deliberate approach to deployment, a deliberate approach to investment in whatever AI tool is necessary. If I have a case to work on and I have an internal GPT that my company has deployed that has all the cases in the world that everybody has done. So somebody has done it in Syria. No, sorry. Somebody has done it in Siberia. Somebody has done it in Colombia. Somebody has done it in Utah, not even Texas, not even New York. Somebody has done it in Utah for one department of government, home feeding, whatever. And I am in Africa trying to do this thing for for the Ministry of Feeding in Kenya. I don't need to go look for it anywhere. But if my company has blocked it, and I have to deliver. I'm in the middle of the deep blue sea. The minister is looking at me. Everybody is asking me and saying, bro, don't you know what to do? What am I going to do? Lead me not into temptation. So companies, rather than blocking, should have a strategic approach to adoption and implementation, which was why I told the first questioner that said, there has to be a strategic stuff. Adoption is a project on its own. I hope I'm making sense, Mary.
Yes, sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to take a break on questions. I'll finish the slides and then I'll come back to more questions. So what are some ways, if you enjoyed the class, what are some ways in which you can work with me with the kind permission of the president? I have a program whereby I have recorded a deeper dive. I did a 5-day program on AI fundamentals, which is recorded, and I can give you access to it for a tiny fee, next inconsequential fee. If you have many more questions or you want to see how you can use AI, I have a fast start, which is a one-on-one mentorship that I can help you with. And I have an AI course for business analysts that we are proposing to run in November, ending of November, like the 25th of November. And also I have a recorded course that I'm launching in a few weeks' time on AI productivity for professionals. So if you want to know what tools to use, like Dami A said, I can now use AI to build videos. Or what other things can you use AI for, apart from asking questions, apart from being a bestie to Ronke? What other things can make you be smart in your office? That AI productivity program, bundled with the AI for business analysts, is something that it would be nice for you to explore. Now, if you are in an organization and you want to use AI, I have an AI training for leaders and executives where I help leaders and executives understand what this AI thing is about and help them to know it. I'm not teaching them how to use ChatGPT. I'm having deep conversations with them on how they should not be afraid and how they should not be blocking ChatGPT and the risks and the privacy conversations and the strategic things they should be thinking about. Then we step it down to employees where employees and workers, okay, which is more or less like the productivity program that I mentioned here. How can you use AI? What are the things that you can do? Now, the last three are for companies. I didn't see the name of the person who was asking about the adoption thing. But for you to even talk about adoption, we will start with a readiness program, a readiness assessment. What do you have in place? Do you even have the data? Because without AI data, there's no AI. Do you even have good data to even say you want to do AI? What are the things you have in place before we can even have this AI conversation with you? And then instead of me just saying, okay, let's do AI, I also have something that allows me to have a profit finder discussion with you, whereby we look at how you can make money using AI. So you're not just investing big money, dollars in AI, and you're not seeing return on investment. So we do a profit finder program on AI for you. And of course, your readiness plus your profit finder will lead us into designing a roadmap and AI strategy for you. So if you really want to have this conversation, you can send me a mail at studymaster@apricot.com. Studymaster is my learning platform, studymaster@apricot.com, and I can enlighten you more on these things. So lastly for tonight, if you really are interested in the fast start and you want to have a conversation with me, I'm happy to give it off at a huge discount because of my good friends in the room. I think I know 4 or 5 people in the room here tonight. I'm giving a discount of about $45 USD, not CAD, USD. So you have a one-on-one onboarding on how you can use AI for 90 to 120 minutes. And when you're done, you are going to get a toolbox, which is like an Excel sheet for AI for professionals, a toolbox. What are the tools? So all those tools I mentioned here in my slides, I'll have them properly documented for you, researched and everything. So you have those 2 documents as a bonus if you come for the one-on-one mentorship. Now, if you don't want to have time for mentorship, you might be smarter than me, which is good. I'm happy. But you just want the toolbox. You can get that for just $40 USD, not CAD. You can get that for just $40. So you just send me a mail at this email address, and then I'm happy to share it with you. Lastly, if you want to come for the program starting on the 25th, this program typically will go for $400, $500, but again, a discount. It's for 2 weeks. You get the toolboxes, you get the AI productivity course, and then you get the AI for business analysts program. You get the AI for business analysts program. It's $250 US dollars, not Canadian dollars. And yes, that's it. This is another course I have, but it's not relevant for us tonight. So if you have questions and if you want to reach out to me, here it is. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm Tosin Shobukola. We are not many that bear that name, but I'm the only one in tech. So if you are looking for the only one in tech, the black guy, African guy with some balding hair, I'm the only one bearing that name. And then my website, these slides will be on my website by next week. You can easily pick it up from there. So my name is Tosin. I'm Tosin S. Very unique name, tosinyes.com. And then you can find me on LinkedIn at Tosin Shobukola. So I'm happy to take more questions for anyone at Tokwe, I'm sorry, I might not be able to catch your email. Just do me an email, studymaster@apricot.com, studymaster@apricot.com, and I'm ready to address your issues. So yes, so more questions. I'm happy to take more questions. Any other questions that you have for me? But if my time is up, I'm happy to take a walk. So over to you, Ronke, over to you, Mr. President. But if anyone has a question, I'm happy to take more questions.
Thank you so very much. This has been amazing. I'm blown away. Aderonke, are you blown away as well? Thank you.
Yes, I am. Of course, Tosin has shown a different perspective that I've not seen from this angle. Of course, coming from an expert, so I think it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to studymaster@apico.com. You can send an email to Tosin. And then of course also feel free to connect with us as well. I'm just gonna share my screen
One
real
very
quick
quick
here.
one, Mr. President and Ronke, if you have enough people on your team who are interested in or neighboring communities who are interested in the course, I will be happy to have a conversation with you whereby we can do a bulk discount, but there has to be a sizable number. So please help check on that. Thank you.
Okay, sure, no worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I don't know if everyone can still see my screen. Okay, I'm just going to share again. So thank you, Tosin. This has been amazing. And of course, this same time next week, we should be having our next speaker series, still in the same month of October. We'll be having Mike Jones talk to us about stakeholders are your critical success factor as well. So please feel free to connect with BAs within your field here. And then, of course, let's know how we can help you. Yeah, AI is taking over. If you are a BA who doesn't use AI, of course, a BA that uses AI would kind of, trump you here, really. So, I think it's been amazing, honestly. I'm completely blown away. Are there any other announcements before we wrap this up real quick?
No, that'll be all on
Awesome.
my hand. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks,
So
everybody.
hopefully we'll see you all next week, same time. Thank you.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much, Tosin.
you.
Thank you from
I
here.
thought we were going to take a quick
Thanks,
picture.
everyone. Thank you
Oh,
very much,
that's
Take a
guys.
quick
true.
picture.
That's true.
Yeah, let's
Great
take a quick
session.
Can we
picture. Can
come
we turn
on?
on our cameras and
Let's take a
let's
picture,
take a
please.
quick picture? Yeah, if we
Oh,
can.
great.
Real quick. Let's do this real quick. I don't know, do you want to do it real quick?
I think you should help with that. Yeah, yeah. I can see the full pictures. Yeah,
More people are still trying to turn on their cameras, so
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Please turn on your cameras.
May I want to take away your slides?
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's true. Let me stop sharing
Oh,
here.
yeah. Okay. Also, I was struggling with that.
Okay, can you take it now?
Okay. Yeah.
I think you also need to remove the pins.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Are we expected to smile?
Oh, absolutely. We could do that.
Please do.
I don't get you have it now.
Yeah.
You have it now? Perfect.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I do.
Good to see all the amazing faces. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing.
See you all next week. Same time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.